The Football Pod, on Off the Ball, brought to you by Movember, ahead of the game, building mentally resilient GAA communities on and off the pitch.
Welcome back to Croke Park. Mayo are seconds away from ending 75 years of pain. 30 seconds to go, Mayo have the ball. It's Mayo 119, Kerry 117. Nobody gave them a hope, and Tommy McDonald has it. He just has to keep it on his hand. He can get it to Tommy Conroy, over the Mayo. Mayo by 3. They've done it. The Mayo footballers have just won the 2026 All-Ireland Senior Football Championship title. This is it. This is it. Oh, the scenes around Croke Park. This is absolutely incredible. Nobody gave them a hope. Just listen to the noise. Oh, the greatest sports story any of us are ever going to cover. The Mayo footballers have banished all the demons. They've ended every curse. They put an end to all that rubbish. They have delivered on the greatest day of all. This is incredible. There are still 82,000 people here. Andy Moore is being embraced by his great friend Barry Solon and his backroom team. Colin Boyle has sprinted in to the players. They're gone out to the hill. I'm here with Paddy Andrews and James O'Donoghue. Paddy, I'm going to come to you first. Mayo 120, Kerry 117. What have we just witnessed?
Lads, Jesus Christ, this is unbelievable scene. They didn't think it was possible. Did not think it was possible. But, do you know what? They were brave. They went after Kerry from the first couple of minutes of this game, and it looked like it was going sideways on them. They were 8 points down. But Ryan O'Donoghue and those forwards, they tackled their life out there. Unbelievable performance. And the whole stadium was thinking, can they keep this up? We've never seen a team play at 100 miles an hour for 70 minutes, but Mayo have just done it. Unbelievable scenes.
Just have a listen to this. James O'Donoghue, I haven't had the chance to come over to you yet. This is a tough one to take from a Kerry point of view, but you're a great footballing county. You have 39 All-Irelands. And today it looked like Mayo just had the legs. They had the game plan, and they put it to you, they took it to you.
Pit in my stomach, but as much as I'm absolutely devastated for Kerry and Kerry supporters, the player, you can't begrudge Mayo this. I mean, like, the outburst and the outpouring of emotion at the final whistle there was actually like nothing I've heard. It was like this emotional release almost by them. And I'm seeing Kobe there celebrating this 18-year-old kid who has come into intercounty football and become a star. And you know what? Fair play to him. Ryan O'Donoghue, I said against Loud, it's his team. My God, did he show it again today. The tackling, the leadership, the way he dragged. I know you're pointing at Kobe there, and Kobe's been brilliant.
And Andy Moore.
But this is Ryan O'Donoghue, the work he did, the two-pointers, the frees he won, the turnovers he did on Paul Murphy and Dylan Casey. He set the tone, and the rest have brought in behind. From a Kerry point of view, I mean, just so disappointed that we never got going at all. Our best players didn't play well, apart from probably Paddy and David Clifford. They took it to Mayo when we needed it in the second half, but it wasn't enough. We ran out of legs. The bench didn't have any punch, and I must say, I don't want to talk about Kerry too much because this is Mayo's day. Is that Henley?
That's Rob Henley with his little daughter and his wife Orla. The tough days that he's had in Croke Park, like many Mayo men since 1951. They can forget about 89. They can forget about 96 and 97 and 04 and 06 and 12 and 13 and 16 and 17 and 20 and 21. Because they have 2026. They have 2026. They've done it, Paddy Andrews. I have never seen anything like this.
watching the bench of Rob Henley down there with his daughter. I'm looking at Killian O'Connor. I'm looking at Andy Moran. Ah, lads, it's heavy on Kerry, but it's incredible for that group. You never thought you'd see it, lads, and they must have thought it themselves. What a day. And so deserved, so deserved. That was a performance just full of guts. Incredible.
The big screen has just shown us Toby McDonald with his brother, Jordan Flynn, the two boys in tears. And now Mayo have their moment in front of the hill. The Mayo footballers have never had this. And now they do. This is just, I know James, it's so tough when you're from Kerry, but you have to give it to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot begrudge them one bit. They deserved it. They were the better team. They played the better football. They looked more energetic. They had more want. They had more desire. Their crowd were baying for it. And you know what? They deserved it. And there was a couple of moments that gave me, on both sides, gave me some chills. Clifford's point with the right leg at the end when Kerry were chasing the game, I thought was unbelievable leadership. But Dara Burns' goal, right under who danced around a couple of Kerry players on halfway. I mean danced around them. Like three fellas ended up on their backside, he danced around them. And the ball ends up in Dara Burns' hands. And he sidesfoot the ball past a brilliant goalkeeper in Shane Murphy into the top corner. For what I am going to tell you honestly now, is the best moment in his life. The very best moment of that young man's life. He's hit the net against Kerry in All-Ireland final when they've got over the line for the first time in God knows how long. And right on who the amount of turnovers he had, he slaps over a two-pointer and turned to the crowd and just gave a fist bump. And at that stage, I think we knew we were under pressure.
You're very welcome along to a pretty remarkable football pod. We're in the tunnel of the Hogan Stand and with Paddy Anders and James O'Donoghue. Mayo have just won the All-Ireland. Mayo have just ended 75 years of hurt. Paddy, I'm going to start with James. I didn't come to James for a long time at the final whistle when we were live on News Talk. Have you processed what Mayo have just achieved, this football team of Andy Moran's?
Yeah, well, we'll be processing it for a long time, but all we can say is it's an absolutely remarkable achievement. Like, even at the semi-final stage, we were questioning, you know, did Mayo think they'd be in the semi-final during the Connacht Championship or during the league, or I know they had a good league. To get to the final and win the final against all the odds, the amount of people writing them off, me included, saying this is only a matter of 6 or 7 points for Kerry, they absolutely shut everyone up. And the level they got to, the level of intensity and tackling and heart and ambition and front foot football, it deserved to win the All-Ireland. It genuinely deserved to win the All-Ireland. Kerry did not get there. This was not a smash and grab. This was the better team on the day won. And we were just inside Andy Moran's press conference.
Were you in it, were you?
We were in there.
Oh, did he see you, no?
He did.
He did. It was emotional. Do you know, I don't know Andy well, but I just know that he pours his heart and soul into this, and obviously he's been questioned. He's trying to get them playing this great brand of football, and it's been a success. So to see him talk about, you know, his wife and kids and what it means and what they've put into it, what all the players put into it, it's just incredible. And he's right, what he said in there. The hill was full for an hour after. There was girls after making their way down.
They broke into the press box.
Bawling, crying. 40 minutes after the end of the game. With vuvuzelas. So it was a carnival after the game. It was probably the biggest level of emotion I've seen after an All-Ireland final.
I asked Jack O'Connor, not the first question, but the last question I asked him. I know how difficult it must be as Kerry manager standing there, but can you appreciate it from a Mayo perspective?
Yeah.
And his answer was fantastic. Talked about how good this was for football and for Mayo people, and by God did they need it.
Yeah, very magnanimous. Obviously, Jack is a legend of the game himself, and look, Kerry were going for their 40th title today. An incredible team. They were back to the hilt by everyone, and that was based on what we'd seen and the quality that they have. And the big question mark coming into the final for Mayo was, could they reach the intensity levels that they showed for maybe 15 to 20 minutes against Louth? And could you bank on the biggest day in our sport on, you know, 18 and 19-year-old players? And they answered those questions. You have to remember, like, was it 7 or 8 points down in the first quarter? Cliffy gets the goal.
1-5-1.
And you're just thinking, Jesus Christ, we've seen this movie before. Everyone in the stadium was thinking the same thing. They were missing a couple of 2-pointers. It looked like they were forcing it a bit. But as Andy said in his press conference there, and it's funny, he's a bit more nearly open about it now that the season's over, they decided we're going to push up, we're going to play in the front foot, and we're going to go after it.
And that leads to maybe being a bit open and maybe leaving lots of goal chances against Meath and against Monaghan. But when it's right, it was the right answer. And to be fair to them today, like Ryan O'Donoghue, the tackling inside, if your best player is setting the tone like that, there's no excuse for anyone else not to do it. So the intensity they got to, and the key thing as well, could they keep that up for 70 minutes? But every time it looked like maybe it was starting to slow down, they'd have another massive moment. The 2-pointer from Jack Carney, Darragh Byrne's goal, Kobe himself really comes into it as well. And frankly, they probably could have won by more. So it's amazing scenes. And as you said it, Jimmy, it's deserved. Well and truly deserved. And Jack O'Connor, to be fair, I wouldn't expect anything less from him. That class as a man. And we've got another man here beside us.
Congratulations.
Patrick, congratulations. Congratulations.
Coach Paddy Tally is with us here. Paddy, we're just talking about the game plan and the manner in which you pressed up and you were brave and you went for it today. Talk to us about that.
I suppose it's the only way Mayo can really play. In fairness, like that's the DNA of Mayo football. Energy's high. The boys are conditioned to play that way. Now, we have worked very hard on it. It's not something to just do. You need to know what you're doing behind the play and that. But they're great today, and I think it shocked Kerry a bit. I think the times, especially the Kerry full back line coming out, were met with real physical challenges, and there was a few of them maybe on the line where could have been freeze out or freeze in as well as freeze out early in the game, but we stuck to it. And then I think in the second half with the breeze behind us, it was a bit easier for us, you know. And
was that always going to be a plan, no matter who you were going to be playing, or was that targeting Kerry in terms of how they played, that you'd really hit them up high, like the intensity that Ryan O'Donoghue showed? Yeah, and Kerry weren't used to. So was it always going to be that way, or was it for Kerry?
Oh no, I think generally that's the way we play this last while. You pick your moments in the game. You don't do it all the time. There's times you have to drop off, and you have to if there's a player who gets out over the top, there's always a bit of a risk in it. But there was something in the way Kerry were coming out and playing this last week while we're slightly, I don't know what it was, maybe it was just, they were nearly content to drop into a low block a lot of the time, and even when they're coming out with the ball, it was sort of laboured. There wasn't much kicking going on, and I think it just was an opportunity to really get it among them. And we sort of identified that this last week while, and maybe I think the energy in the Mayo players today was just great, and they couldn't get enough tackling. They couldn't do enough for the team. Like,
could you say, Paddy, and nearly coming in from the outside as well, like, we were watching the game, and even into the third quarter, where you get a great start to the second half, and you get your noses in front, and maybe 9 times out of 10 teams would say, okay, let's sit back and maybe control the game. Mayo's best chance to win the game is that like chaotic energy and fury, and the question mark, everyone was saying that, like, can they keep that up for 70 minutes? Kerry gave you opportunities to get at them, but any time it seemed like maybe it's dipping, you had a massive moment. Then again, Darragh's goal, like Jack Carney with the 2-pointers, he's done it all season, and then Ryan O'Donoghue as well. Like, that's just, you said, it just suits Mayo to play that way, and that was the key to victory.
And there's a little bit of chaos involved in it, you know. But I thought the period before half time was massive for us, and I think in the 10 minutes before half time we outscored Kerry by 5 points. We got a run on Kerry, and I think then getting after half time we come out and we scored a couple of points again, and all of a sudden, like, we just knew we're in a really good spot here, and just push on. And I think we missed 5 in a row. We were really on top, and I was always thinking to myself, this is, and then Kerry started playing it back. Shawnee gets a score, Davy gets a score, Paddy gets a score, and thinking, right, this is always the danger with Kerry. They can live off scraps and they'll still be in the game. But there's a couple of misses. Kerry missed a couple of very vital scores. Big ones, one off the left and one off the right, one left of the post and one right of the post. And those are big moments. One dropped into the goalie's hands as well. Like, so,
Jack said 2 weeks ago, and you'll know these Kerry players so well, but Jack said 2 weeks ago that they're not right, and they haven't been right. And maybe in the press we're underestimating maybe the lack of fitness that these lads have gotten to their bodies in the last while. Did he target that? It felt like he targeted that.
I thought looking at Kerry in the last 2 matches, I thought they were off the pace. I thought they looked a bit large, but now they've had a lot of injuries now. And even you think the amount of players there that Kerry missed it all season. And like, if you know about you from playing inter-county, if you miss a pre-season, miss an inter-county league, and it's not like the old days where you had a long time. If you missed that early in the season, then you're trying to catch up later on, and you could see some of the Kerry boys really liking to lose Jeremy O'Connor before the game, another big blow, like, you know, and then Dylan Geeney goes off in the game, like, and he went off, he got a bit of knock earlier on, he didn't look himself after it, like, so I think there might have been something in that, all right.
We're going to let you get into the dressing room.
I am, Tommy, thanks,
but last one, Tyrone. Tyrone 2003, he ended in your own county, an incredible drought. You were a young man involved with Mickey Hart back then. What is it going to be like in there in that Mayo dressing room? And just a quick answer, you can go then.
It'll be mental. It'll be absolutely mental. It'll be stone mad. Anybody who's heading west, get there early.
It's like an advert for a Rockshore cider coming out there, actually, isn't it?
See you later, Paddy. Thank you. Well done.
Paddy.
Congratulations. Like that man, what a record that man has had. I know we caught up on the pod a couple of years ago as well, but
and
look,
you know, that could be probably a sweet one for him as well, because his last year with Kerry, when we didn't win, he was questioned, and tactically to go and beat Kerry in a final after leaving Kerry, you know, it's a bit of a sucker punch, but you know, he's obviously done a great job with them. And it's interesting to hear about the pressing up front. But that's where the game has gone. It's not about sitting back and getting your 12 behind the ball. That day is gone, baby. Kick the ball and press up on the full back line.
And we know him really well because he was on season 1 of the football pod, and we know how much he is mad about his football. But this was a team built in Andy Moran's eyes. Yeah. This was a team built in his style of play and what he fully believed would win the All-Ireland this year.
Yeah, it is. Like he won Football of the Year when he was 34 years of age. Like he's we know, getting to know his personality, like on the pitch, we had great battles, but getting to know him off the pitch, that season we did, just his infectious energy, his positivity, he spoke about it inside. But you have to remember, he went into Monaghan and they were the top scorers across all 4 divisions, working with Gabriel Bannigan. It's no surprise that they play this attacking, front-flowing football that Paddy Tally's just referenced. It suits them, you know. And if Mayo football at the end of last season, you know, probably to run out of a bit of steam under Kevin McStay, another legendary Mayo figure, but there was a disconnect between the supporters, maybe the players, the clubs, the fans. Andy's the perfect guy to bring that in, and he was talking about long-term and 3 and 4 and 5 year plans. Went on his wildest dreams to turn around 10 months later and win the All-Ireland. But that was a performance in him, you know. But
I think he went into that dressing room at the start of the year, and I think he was making.
I think he believed. I think
he made the players believe, because he changed. Like they played in an abandon this year, James. They weren't afraid to take chances and risks in matches.
Confidence in themselves.
But if you say to players, how do you want to play? They'll say they want to play that way, but they need the backing. They need the backing of their manager. They need to be told that if I do kick that 2-pointer wide, I can do it again.
Keep talking.
I'm gonna back you. If they do kick the ball in and the inside forward spills it, it doesn't matter. He can make the same run again, and the man should kick it to him again. So Andy has obviously given the boys that kind of that leeway and that license to make mistakes, do it again, because that way football does make mistakes. It's not safe. It's not hand passing. Very often, if you have the ball, you're going to have a very easy hand pass option and you're going to have a more difficult foot pass option. And it just depends, is your manager backing you to keep it safe or do it the way it's supposed to be done? And he has backed his players. And as an inside forward, he knows how the game should be played, because he knows about the fella who wants to kick it in and the spaces they should be operating in, and he knows about the runs the inside fella should be making, what they should be doing for each other in terms of screening. Did you ever see Andy Moore and Killian O'Connor play together? They did more screening than running.
Clipping and flicking and stopping.
They were an absolute nuisance for the
had
full
it
back
all
line.
up here.
So
the pace. They may not have had the pace.
He did, exactly, but they had the smarts, and he's input these smarts, and he's given the trust to the players, which is the main thing.
You were straight on Ryan O'Donoghue after the game. The RT man of the match will be named later tonight on the Sunday game, but Ryan O'Donoghue is going to be man of the match, right?
I'm going Ryan O'Donoghue, man of the match and player of the year. I think he's taken this Mayo team in his hand, and he's saying, Kobe, Byrne, come with me. And like it's a bit of goosebump stuff the way he's done it. And
his run for the goal. He goes by about 8. It's like Maradona.
There's 4 on the ground.
Like unbelievable. It was like, and right from the start, he had that just intensity and that leadership. Mayo don't win the All-Ireland without Ryan O'Donoghue.
No,
it just doesn't happen. And like technically, he has brilliant moments as well. But it was just the balls today. It was like you even said it in the warm-up. This guy just looks laser focused, and like the run for the goal. It was like he was looking for lads to go around, or let's just run over. Like, it was sensational. And you said, if you're a young fella, like the two boys are inside him, what confidence it gives, but also what tone it sets. If your best player is going to tackle like a demon, well, you better bother your arse to tackle as well.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. It's incredible.
Will you pick through a few more bits in the game? I'm going to try and go into the Mayo dressing room and get a player while we're live on the pod for a couple of minutes.
Let them enjoy, Tommy.
What else happened today on that pitch? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around. I do think Kerry's legs did not look there, and I think Mayo targeted that.
They didn't have kick off the bench, Kerry, and the injuries. To be fair to Jack O'Connor, that seemed to catch up with him, wasn't it? Like that. You know, Dylan Gainey goes off. He's player of the year for him only a couple of weeks ago. Just hasn't looked right. You know, Tom Sullivan starts the game, but has to come off at half time. You know, Brian Abreglia comes on. Looks like he's nearly limping coming onto the pitch. To be fair to Jack, he said it all along, this is a game, particularly played at that intensity, you need You need 20 players coming off the pitch. We're looking at Tony Brosnan, Shane Ryan, who didn't see any game time.
Tony,
like how useful they could have been. Tony, like
Tony's
that last 10, 15 minutes.
He's the most unlucky footballer in Ireland. He's missed 3 All-Ireland finals now, one with a broken arm, this one with a hamstring, I think one with a punctured lung. He's missed 3 finals, it's incredible. Even if Kerry had Gainey to come off the bench.
No Paul Gainey. Huh?
And do you even hear Andy Moore? And he said when he brought on Durkin and he brought on Loftus,
Calm.
and they fixed a few problems for him. He just said, sort that out. The boys went on and sorted it. That little bit of experience, Gainey would have given them that. But you're right, I don't think the Kerry had that punch off the bench. They used all their cards. And missing Dermot O'Connor, having to use Tom early. And I am Tom O'Sullivan's biggest fan. I think he's absolutely
one of the best to do it, like,
but he didn't look match ready.
How could he be? How could he be?
He's played no games, and then he had a couple of chances, maybe lost a bit of confidence. Brian Begley, you're right, didn't look fit when he came on. So then you're relying on David Clifford and Paddy Clifford and Sean.
And they nearly did it.
The two boys
They nearly did it.
really did show up. They really did show up. Shawnee tried, obviously missed those couple of chances, but Kerry just didn't have enough oomph off the bench, and didn't even have enough oomph left on the field.
Was the Dermot O'Connor one? We kind of felt the midfield back. We speak about it all the time. Mark O'Shea, look, he's due in for an all-star. Had a big performance today, but Jack Carney and Jordan Flynn, that fight and energy too. Missing Dermot O'Connor as a kick-out option, you felt like that actually came into it as well. Like,
I think it did, yeah.
Yeah, and it's
like they were very much kind of putting it out to Joe and Mark and Sean O'Brien, but
he's a fourth option that you want to have as well.
Overloaded that's when you went to Dermot O'Connor over the other side. Then, no, look, it's a small thing. Well, it's a big thing, but it's not an excuse for Kerry. They were still, even if they had Dermot, I don't think they got to the pitch of the game. I don't think they got to that. I want to win this more than anything. I think the Mayo got there. I think they wanted to absolutely die for it. That's why it's so hard to go back to back. You've got bodies, taped together. You've got fellas knackered, you've got fellas wrecked, and just they weren't able to get up to that level. We've just seen the Mayo boys come out now.
There's the Samagor as well, jeez.
Young Dara Byrne has a cup. Like, that lad is 19. He's just scored the goal. The best moment of his life by a mile. Just scored the goal to win.
I think he's going to have a few good more moments now over the next few weeks, I'd say. Player cam on Dara Byrne would be good, I'd say, for the next few weeks.
Look at this.
Yeah.
We go over here and have a look, are we?
Dude, that is brilliant.
That's his class.
Yeah.
Andy
Phenomenal.
will join us in 2 minutes. But,
Jesus.
Something I wanted to mention there that I was just in the tunnel and I bumped into Darren Farrell from RT Sport, and the Kerry footballers have actually presented him with the number 10 jersey to give to young Finn Clancy, Paul Clancy's son, and I think the Mayo footballers are going to present something else as well. So I just think on a day like today, because there is a lot of emotion after Mayo ending what they have done after 75 years of hurt, there's so much more that goes into the sport that we love, and people like Paul Clancy and John O'Mahony, who was so close to Andy Moran, who passed away as well, they're being remembered today in a really nice way.
Stephen Golightly during the week as well, from Monaghan, would have played against them, a couple of Ulster titles as well. The scenes beforehand, we said it earlier on radio, Paul Clancy's young fella came out and it was emotional for that. I think for the whole stadium, but for Paul Clancy's family, obviously Jono, and then the news during the week of Stephen Golightly. It just makes it a pleasure, and we're all GAA fanatics, and to be here on the biggest weekend and the biggest day of the year to just try and embrace it and enjoy it. And I think you've seen it was an emotional day, and we were talking beforehand, just before you headed off, Tommy, to come down, this has probably been the best football championship in history, and there's been so many upsets. Mayo was the capstone on it, that this one of the upset for the ages to beat Kerry and finally end this drought for them, and it's a fitting end to what's been, for me, it's been the best championship we've ever seen.
It's one of the best sports stories we've ever seen, James, and I can't imagine it's very tough. Paddy, you've been there, I think, watching plenty of tough Dublin days in the last couple of years after so many great days, and you've seen so many great Kerry days after some tough days as well, but to be able to appreciate what Mayo have done it's one of the greatest sports stories we'll ever cover.
It is, and it's a really, really strange place to be when you're a losing supporter and have to analyse the great achievement of someone else.
You've been doing great,
Jimmy,
you have. You've been doing great.
Because everyone else was on this unbelievable buzz, right? And then
girls
it's
that
just
broke into the press box with the vuvuzela in your
well,
ear.
when they were crying, I was thinking about just crying as well. But it's such a deflating moment. But then you see these life-changing, moments happening for Mayo, who've earned that moment as well. They've absolutely earned that moment. It's not like they have just turned up and done a smash and grab, as I said. They've earned this moment. Think of the people who have been in and around this team. The Keegans. You've obviously got your Higgins, your Boyles on the management team. Like, hopefully these fellas can take some bit of joy in it. I know they've lost their own finals, but they deserve it.
This tunnel is never like this, by the way. There are so many people hanging around and waiting around, and there's going to be players coming out, and I could hear them there when I was speaking to Darren Frell singing. Andy Moran's voice was singing songs with the players, and that dressing room must be just incredible. I have a bit of news for you. My phone was actually about to die, so I'm going to charge it so we can get way more bits and pieces from Mayo over the next little while. But we might leave this week's episode of the Football Pod here for now. It's brought to you with thanks to Movember. The work that Movember do with Ahead of the Game, it really is something else. I said every week in the pod, you can check it out at Movember Ahead of the Game. Just search for it on Google, and they're in clubs and counties around the country, and it really is well worth checking out. I'd really recommend you doing that. It's a brilliant one, doing a football pod in the tunnel of the Hogan Stand. I wasn't never quite sure we'd ever do one when Mayo have just won an All-Ireland, but we have, and there'll be plenty more from us over the next little while. I'm off to Mayo in the morning after I cover the Winners Hotel, so you boys...
But you've championship next weekend.
You boys might
There'll
hear
be no
from me for a
celebrating.
week.
By the way, the most biased man of all time inside in that press box.
like that was...
He says to us during games, he goes, you have to be completely impartial now, be careful what you wear, be careful what you say. He was jumping up and down for Mayo. It was
Mayo
actually...
kid on.
What do you think of the AF Sports Football Pod jackets? There's two for Paddy and James as well. They look pretty
I'm
nice.
not sure about the colour, if I'm being honest.
I think it would suit you.
I'd prefer a green and white one and a green yellow one.
Paddy Andrews, James Donoghue. Hard luck today. Well
Thanks,
done.
Tom.
We have a couple more episodes to go in this inter-county season.
Do we?
The Mayo story is going to keep us going, Paddy. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, lads.
Cheers, boys.
The Football Pod, on Off the Ball, brought to you by Movember, Ahead of the Game, building mentally resilient GAA communities on and off the pitch.